Giannis Antetokounmpo, two-time NBA MVP and NBA champion, said the EuroLeague Final Four is the best basketball in the world.
EuroLeague basketball, best basketball in the world.
The event did not disappoint. We're about to talk about both semi-finals and the championship game in this video. If you didn't watch, you missed out, because EuroLeague Final Four is becoming one of the biggest basketball celebrations in the world. It wasn't just Giannis. Six-time NBA champion Scottie Pippen and world champion Dennis Schroeder were courtside to watch the event in Berlin. The Final Four featured four historically great franchises, the two Greek giants, Panathinaikos and Olympiacos, Turkish club Fenerbahce, and the defending champions Real Madrid. These four clubs have combined for 21 EuroLeague titles. They are obsessed with winning and have some of the craziest fan bases in sports. The Final Four weekend actually started off badly. Supporters from different countries had their own designated areas around the city where they can get hyped with their fans. But when they all met up together at the arena, things started kicking off. Rival fans were fighting and rioting outside the arena, and as you can see, they managed to overwhelm security in numbers and break into the arena without tickets. German police eventually got control of the situation, but this led to massive delays, scheduling issues, and became problematic for the fans that did buy tickets. Countless arrests were made, innocent people were injured and attacked, but the truth is, hooligans are gonna be hooligans. Everybody wants to be known as the craziest fan base, and things like this are gonna happen if the right security isn't in place to prevent it. It's safe to say German police got this horribly wrong. But there was still a whole weekend of great basketball to be played, and it's no understatement to say this meant everything for all four of these clubs. If you want to know more about the EuroLeague playoffs and everything it took to get here, click the top right of your screen and check out our last video. For Panathinaikos, this was their first Final Four appearance in 12 years, with Kendrick Nunn hoping to become the first American player since Dominique Wilkins to lead them to a EuroLeague championship. They had to fight a brutal 5-game series with Maccabi Tel Aviv to earn their place in the Final Four. Likewise, their opponents Fenerbahce, they were underdogs, up against Kemba Walker and Mike James, the MVP of EuroLeague. For them, they've had to suffer, watch big rivals Anadolu Efes dominate this competition. With their dynasty ending with Vasilij Micic moving to the NBA, being back in the Final Four was their chance to become champions of Europe for just the second time in club history. Let's talk about this game first. The anticipation was overwhelming, but the game finally started off between the two teams, and it was Panathinaikos that came to play. After a nervous start to the game with both teams going scoreless in the opening 2 minutes, Kendrick Nunn drew the first blood with a pull-up three-pointer, continuing his form from his heroic Game 5 performance. The start of this game was all about the greens. Shot clock winding down, great ball movement to find Geran Grant for three. That's an 8-0 start. Fenerbahce can't get nothing going offensively, and Grant makes them pay again. Jumper from the mid-range. Fenerbahce were on the ropes. Scottie Wilbekin doubled, is ripped by Lazort, runs the drag screen, finds the cutter, and Mitoglu for the two-hand slam.
Drops it off to Mitoglu. Yes, he can. He just needs a timeout.
Sends Fenerbahce into a timeout. 12-0 run, and the Turkish giants are flat on their feet halfway through the first quarter, and they hadn't scored a single point. The defensive intensity from Panathinaikos to start the game was insane. Wilbekin on this play tries to take advantage of the mismatch, gets a good look from the top of the key, and it's an air ball. Fenerbahce are absolutely rocked. 4 minutes 47 in the first, and they finally get on the scoreboard. Nigel Hayes-Davis, showing why he's first team all EuroLeague, spins out of the post, attacks baseline, goes right at Lazor, and scores through contact. And one. From the inbound, they set a back pick to free up Nigel Hayes-Davis. He cuts straight to the basket, and Calafes picks him out for an easy two. That man there, Nick Calafes, using all his experience as one of the greatest guards in EuroLeague history to lock down Kendrick Nunn on defense. Speaking of experience, how about Kostas Lukas, pushing the pace in transition? He retreats to the corner when nothing's on, but look at the patience. He gets the defender off his feet with the pump fake, one dribble pull up, bank shot off the glass. Panathinaikos maintaining their lead well. Slukas runs the pick and roll with Lazor. They blitz the ball handler, but Slukas makes the bounce pass as Matheus Lazor goes right down the middle and throws it down with authority. That's what Lazor brings, energy and power. Fenerbahce, after a slow start, are still hanging in there though. Great off-ball movement here from Sanley, occupies the space, Goodrich penetrates, and that's a wide open three from the top of the key. He knocks it down, and all of a sudden it's a 7-point game, putting the pressure back on Panathinaikos. Shot clock winding down, Gorjonis down low, fakes the turnaround over his right shoulder, and hits a ridiculous rainbow fadeaway towards the baseline. More great basketball from the Greens. On this play, Kendrick Nunn gets the rebound, goes coast to coast, around the back to get past Calafes. He lays it up, misses, but guess who's there to follow it up? You already know, Matheus Lazor puts those 2 points right back on the board. The first quarter ends 22-13. Panathinaikos got off to a dream start. 7 different players contributing to the scoring, but Fenerbahce were able to make up some ground, showing their composure under pressure. They really started locking down on defense and getting stops towards the end of the quarter that allowed them to make up some ground. Start of the second, Kendrick Nunn rises up in the mid-range and buries it for his first points of the quarter. But after that, Fenerbahce started to take control. They went on a 7-0 run to cut the lead to just 4 points. They could have made it a 1-point game, but Dorsey missed the corner free. They really needed that, and they were made to pay as Kendrick Nunn hit a 3-pointer to end the scoring drought for his team. Fenerbahce were still playing their game though. Look at the screens and movement off the ball to free up Sestina for a free ball. Have you ever seen the movie Hustle? That's Juancho Hernan Gomez aka Bo Cruz, and he got those 3 points right back for his team on this play right here.
Grant finds. Whoa, that's the answer right there. What you can do, I can do better.
But the play of the half has to be this right here from none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo. Scotty Wilbekin drives and the Greek Freak 3.0 swats it into the stands. Giannis is up on his feet, he's hyped, celebrating the great play from his younger brother. But Fenerbahce just won't go away. Papa Giannis against his former team hits a free. Hayes Davis hit another one as well. And just like that, the lead's cut back down to just 5 points. The Turkish club continue growing into the game, becoming more and more confident. But out the timeout, that momentum shifted right back the other way when Matheus Lazor spun out of the post and did this. The energy continued on the defensive end. Hayes Davis thinks he has an easy layup. Lazor is there, he's everywhere on the court. But the final 90 seconds is where the tides begin to turn again. Goodrich anticipates the pass from Hernan Gomez, steals the ball, and is free to run the floor and lay it up and in. A few stops and a few free throws later, with just under 30 seconds to go, that man there, Nigel Hayes Davis, the man who set the record for most points in a single EuroLeague game, he hit a massive three to cut the lead to just 2 points. He scored 12 points in the first half, leading all scorers for the opening 2 quarters. And of the teams, going into halftime, Fenerbahce are suddenly feeling the more confident. And apart from that rocky start in the beginning, it's been a very close game. The third quarter starts and Nigel Hayes Davis, shot clock winding down, hits a crazy turnaround jumper. That's exactly what they needed to start the half. Yet again at the end of the shot clock, Nick Calafes, a few feet behind the arc, knocks it down at the death of the shot clock. He's not the greatest shooter, but he's shown in these playoffs he can hit them when it counts. Next play on offense, it's him again. Calafes glides to the basket and scoops it up and in. A quick 5 points from him and it's a 2-point game. But Panathinaikos keep their noses in front. Lazor putting points on the board any way he can, whether it's close to the basket or at the free throw line. Things really start to get interesting in the second half of the third quarter. Down 6, Sestina hits one from deep. Then the next play, fighting for the rebound, Lazor hits the deck. No foul call. Calafes continues as if nothing happens. 5-on-4 opportunity. Hayes Davis drives and kicks to the corner and Dorsey hits one to tie it.
Dorsey checks his feet. Strikes it! Count it! Count it! For the first time in a ball game, we're knotted up at 51 each!
No, his foot was on the line. It's only a 2. Still, timeout Panathinaikos. It's a 1-point game. All of a sudden, the game is on. It could go either way at this point. A place in the championship game awaited whichever one of these teams wanted it more. But little did the Turkish club know at this moment, they would just forget how to score the basketball. Coming out of the timeout, Slukas misses the free, and Fenerbahce for the first time have the chance to take the lead. They fail to capitalise on several opportunities to do so. 4 straight stops for Panathinaikos, credit to their defence, and all of a sudden, Fenerbahce found themselves back down 6 after this crazy free at the end of the third.
Kalitakis. Got it! The X factor of the bench, Kalitakis.
The Greeks carried this momentum into the fourth. First possession of the quarter, Lazort gets the steal and dunks in transition. Not a good start for Fenerbahce, who are now stone cold. The fourth quarter starts just how the third ended. Panathinaikos getting stops, and with 6:44 to go in the fourth, they found themselves back up double digits. This here was a very important play for Fenerbahce, and Scotty Wilbekin just carelessly threw the ball out of bounds. Panathinaikos have Fenerbahce rattled. Goodrich tries to drive, ball stripped by Kendrick Nunn. He's off to the races, finishes the play and is fouled, and Panathinaikos lead by 12. Timeout Fenerbahce. Since that Dorsey shot with 3 minutes to go in the third, they managed to score just 2 points before they finally hit a free ball right here. But it's too late. With just over 4 minutes to go in the game, they've scored 2 points in 9 minutes of action. In a Final Four game of this magnitude, with this much on the line, that's not gonna cut it. This is a prime example of why Coach Ataman is the best coach in EuroLeague. His team were under serious pressure and he made some huge defensive adjustments, and it allowed his team to finish the game how they started it, shutting Fenerbahce down. Panathinaikos ended up cruising to victory, 73-57, holding Fenerbahce to just 7 points in the fourth quarter. This was a great team performance from the Greens. Everyone got involved. 9 of 10 players who played in the game scored a basket. Kendrick Nunn and Jerian Grant scored in double figures, but the most important player was Mateusz Lazor. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks and a steal. For Fenerbahce, Hayes Davis did most of the scoring. He had 14 points. Nick Kalafes did a bit of everything. Steals, assists, rebounds. But ultimately the player that cost them in this game was Scotty Wilbekin. He's supposed to be one of the best guards in EuroLeague. He scored 2 points, 1 of 5 shooting from 2, 0 of 5 from 3. He had 4 turnovers and his -9 performance index rating was the lowest ever from a player in a Final Four game. Devastating loss for Fenerbahce, massive win for Panathinaikos as they advanced to the championship game for the first time in a long time. There was a lot of tension in the build up to this game. Fenerbahce fans were at the Panathinaikos team hotel causing chaos, disturbing players the night before, trying to give their team any advantage possible. The coach wasn't happy, he ended up confronting the fans, but ultimately he got the last laugh in the end and ended those fans' Final Four weekend early, sending them on the first flight back to Istanbul. In the championship game, Panathinaikos would face the winner of the other Final Four matchup. Awaiting them was either eternal rivals Olympiacos or Real Madrid, the defending champions. It's time to talk about this game now. For Olympiacos, this was personal. A rematch of the 2023 EuroLeague final, when Sasha Vezenkov and Olympiacos lost the title in heartbreaking fashion because of this shot from Sergio Llull.
Beats him with the dribble, pulls up at the elbow, head off in Jenny, good! And Sergio Llull gives Real Madrid a 1-point lead with 3.1 seconds remaining.
Olympiacos were the underdogs. They weren't supposed to make it this far. They upset Barcelona on the road in Game 5 to get to Berlin. For Real Madrid, they're the champs. They came into this game expecting to handle business and take a step closer to their goal of winning back-to-back titles. First play of the game, and you can see the nerves. Campazzo uncharacteristically throws the ball straight out of bounds. That's not like him with all his experience. He did redeem himself moments later, grabbing the rebound from the missed free and rewarding the big man Eddie Tavares for running the floor, who opens the scoring with a dunk. Olympiacos do them one better. Isaiah Canaan, who had a quiet game 5 with just 5 points, got himself going early on from 3, and this started an all-out shootout because Super Mario Hezonja came down the floor and drilled his first free ball of the game. The very next play after that, Alec Peters for Olympiacos fires and drains a free ball. Hezonja must have took that personally, because he went back to the same spot, stepped back onto the perimeter, got the defender to bite with the pump fake, pulled the trigger and hit his second free of the ball game. Madrid continued to be absolutely unconscious from deep. This time, it was Musa's time to get going from the perimeter. He hit a catch and shoot shot from the right to put Madrid up 5. Then again from the same spot, it's Mario Hezonja again, 3 of 3 from downtown from him. And all of a sudden, Madrid are flying. Just a few minutes into the game and they lead 14-6. This is the Real Madrid that had teams writing off the season in October. When they're playing like this, they look unbeatable. After a few scoreless possessions, Campazzo just walks into the middle of the lane and floats one up and in. 4:20 to go, Hezonja heat check free ball misses, but look who's there. Campazzo, the smallest player on the court with the long rebound, he gives it to Musa, who lets go from nearly half court and sinks his second free ball of the game. Real Madrid's forwards came out all guns blazing, 5 3-pointers in the first quarter. Because of that, the floor is opened up and there's space on the interior, so Campazzo runs the pick and roll with Eddie Tavares, last year's Final Four MVP. He finishes through contact and Olympiacos look defeated. Down 11 points, 3 minutes to go in the first, and Isaiah Canaan carelessly throws the ball out of bounds. Olympiacos finally think they're going to get a stop. Shot clock's winding down, Musa just throws it into Tavares. Crowded by several red jerseys, it doesn't matter, he's able to guide it up and in and remain a perfect 3 for 3 from the field. 90 seconds to go, Campazzo penetrates, runs into traffic, kicks it baseline to the corner. It ain't Hezonja, it ain't Musa, but it is Yabusele who's wide open and hits his first free ball of the game to put Madrid up 16 points. Yabusele ended the quarter strong. He took a lot of contact on this drive right here, was unfazed to put his team up 18 points. Madrid continued to put on the pressure. They ended the quarter with a 9-0 run. But look at the defense. Olympiacos hoping for a bucket to give them some confidence to end the quarter. They get their shot blocked. 28-10 first quarter from Real Madrid. A knockout punch. And watching this live, I, like everybody else, was thinking that they should just wrap the whole thing up and give this team the trophy. How is anyone supposed to beat Madrid when they're playing like this? And if you thought the first quarter was one-sided, how about the second? Eddie Tavares making his presence felt. Petrusa drives, he gets a big piece of it. Madrid stay hot from 3. This time it's Mr. Final Four from the corner. Real Madrid running their bench, filled with OGs and veterans who have done it all before. Rodriguez give and go with Yabusele, who lobs it up to Vincent Poirier, and even he's getting in on the action. Isaiah Canaan momentarily cuts the lead with a 3, but there's Sergio Rodriguez, former EuroLeague MVP, he gets those 3 points right back. Devastating for Olympiacos, they just can't seem to make up any ground. Vincent Poirier, the big man out on the perimeter, gets the steal, races out in transition and dunks the ball to go up 20 points. Olympiacos trail by their biggest deficit of the season. It's getting ugly and it gets worse. Yabusele down low, pump fake and 1. Another free ball, it's Sergio Rodriguez again, he's 2 for 2. As a team they're shooting 75% from 3-point range and just turning on the style. Sergio Rodriguez no look lob to Poirier above the rim for a dunk. Their 2-man game has been unstoppable and Olympiacos had no answer for it in the second quarter. We've talked about Fernandez and Rodriguez, but what about Madrid's other legend, Sergio Llull? He drives, dumps it off to Poirier who slams it down strong and 1. Yui again, teardropper in the lane. Shaq McKissick doing everything he can to cut the lead for his team, hits 2 huge threes towards the end of the half to cut the lead to under 20, but is given CP3 Game 7 vibes.
Is this the dagger?
The first half ends with Real Madrid producing their best half of the season, both offensively and defensively, leading 57-36. Very comfortable with 1 foot in the final. Perhaps too comfortable, because in EuroLeague the game ain't over till it's over. And you'll be shocked to find out that Olympiacos actually came storming back. They went into halftime, made the necessary adjustments and held Madrid scoreless for almost half of the third quarter. This allowed them to get within striking distance of being within striking distance. They wanted to cut the lead to under 10, and although a lot of teams would have just given up after this Musa free ball to put Madrid back up 15, Olympiacos just kept fighting, and with just 90 seconds left in the quarter, a lead that was once as big as 25 was cut down to just 10. Olympiacos fans were starting to believe. They outnumbered Madrid fans in the arena by the thousands. This was an away game for Madrid and the pressure was mounting. Madrid got their act together a little bit. Out of the timeout, Sergio Llull gives them some breathing room and they go into the fourth quarter up 15 points. The fourth starts and Olympiacos get off to the dream start. Alec Peters, the hot hand, hits another from deep to make it a 10-point game, single-handedly keeping his team's season alive. But Real Madrid were not going to cave into the pressure, and anytime Olympiacos got close and made a play to cut into that 10-point lead, somebody from Madrid would step up to the plate and make a big play. Until eventually, with just over 1 minute to go, Madrid delivered the dagger. Balls loose all over the place, players fighting for possession, and I'll let you watch how it played out.
Tries to find foul. Oh, that is absolutely sensational! A broken play fashioned by a flashy steal, and then an outrageous behind-the-back feed to find Canan Musa.
The game finished 87-76, Madrid win by 11. Olympiacos were outstanding in the second half, and had they played like that all game, they might be champions right now. But Real Madrid survived the scare, and the performance, particularly in that first half, was dominant. In the game, Musa had 20 points, Hezonja had 12. Alec Peters for Olympiacos deserved to be on the winning team. He led all scorers, had 23 and 10. Shaq McKissick, 17 points, 3 assists, 3 steals. He did his part, but the players that will be most disappointed with their performances are Papanikolaou and Thomas Walkup. They combined for 3 of 16 shooting from the field and 0 of 9 shooting from 3-point range. You can't have 2 starters playing like that if you want to beat this Real Madrid team. No chance. Now that we have our championship matchup, let's talk about the main event. Real Madrid versus Panathinaikos, the most successful EuroLeague club versus arguably the craziest and most passionate. This was always going to be a classic. You have Real Madrid looking unbeatable, most wins in the regular season ever, #1 seed, undefeated in the playoffs, defending champions looking to repeat, versus a Panathinaikos team who nobody expected to be here. Last season they finished with the second worst record in EuroLeague, winning just 9 games. Coach Ataman came in, they started the season off slow, turned it around, secured a second seed, and had to fight from 2-1 down against Maccabi to win in a deciding Game 5, just to get to the Final 4. And after beating Fenerbahce, they faced their biggest test yet, Uber Arena in Berlin, Germany. But it would have as well have been in Athens, because Panathinaikos fans were everywhere. The talent on the court in this game was second to none. 24 total championships won by players on the floor, and 3 of the top 5 Final 4 all-time leading scorers were playing in this game. A EuroLeague title awaited one of these 2 teams, and right from the start you can see just how badly both teams want it. Nunn and Musa fighting for the ball had to be separated. But the first blood of the tie went to Real Madrid. NBA fans, are you paying attention? That's Elian Dye, he's 19 years old and proved that he's ready for the moment. Panathinaikos come down the floor and answer right back. Jerry and Grant from the top of the key ties the ball game at 3 points each. But there he is again, Elian Dye, this time from the wing, hits his second 3-pointer to start the game. He's made just 7 shots from the perimeter in his entire career and hit 2 to start the championship game. And look at that, the Argentinian Campazzo dumps it into the teenager again for a dunk. That's 8 points in the opening 2 minutes of the game for the 19-year-old. Real Madrid up 5 early. Musa's free is short, but Super Mario is there, hits a fadeaway, and Madrid take a 10-3 lead. You can see Giannis courtside looking a little bit worried. He saw what Madrid did to the other Greek club, but he need not worry, because Papa Petru answers the call and drains his first free of the game. Panathinaikos know they can't let Madrid get hot. They need to get stops. They get one, and a key moment early on was Eddie Tavares, last year's Final Four MVP, getting himself 2 early fouls. Madrid were forced to send him to the bench, and this allowed Kendrick Nunn to get his first points at the free throw line. Check Musa on back-to-back plays here. He receives the ball from the inbound, takes advantage of the matchup against the smaller Nunn, who does everything to put him off, but Musa maintains focus and throws it up off the backboard and in, and one. You can't take your eyes off this game, because immediately after, Nunn got his pocket picked, and Musa went the other way to make it 5 quick points for his team. Around the halfway mark of the first, teams trade baskets. Metoglou hits a free, and then Poirier and Lazor go on to have a back and forth. After the tip, Lazor, down low, at a height disadvantage, pump fakes and puts it high off the glass from close range. And then possibly the play of the game. Musa and Poirier run the pick and roll. Metoglou is late to help, and Poirier punches it down with 2 hands. Usually when your MVP goes to the bench, you'd be worried. Not when you have Vincent Poirier. Panathinaikos need something to get the crowd going, and trust Kendrick Nunn to deliver just that, wasting no time and hitting his first 3-pointer to make it a 1-possession game. Speaking of first frees, how about Campazzo? He throws Nunn's free right back at him and puts Los Blancos back up 6 points. Towards the end of a very competitive first, Madrid start to slowly pull away. Musa and Nunn trade twos, 2 very impressive difficult layups. 2 minutes left in the first quarter, Madrid lead by 8. Bo Cruz gets Yabusele to bite. Hezonja rotates, leaving Kostas Sloukas wide open for him to hit a free ball, his first. Spoiler alert, it won't be his last. The shot making from these teams is ridiculous. After making a mistake defensively on that play, Yabusele makes amends and knocks down a catch and shoot free from the top of the key. A bit like Olympiacos in the second half of the semi-final, anytime Panathinaikos do anything or make a big shot, Madrid just seem to answer right back, not allowing them to cut into their early lead. A minute to go in the first, Sergio Rodriguez to the cup, lovely finish. First quarter ends, Real Madrid lead by 11 points. They scored 36 points in the first, they are unstoppable offensively. Panathinaikos did well, 25 points is usually a great quarter, not against this juggernaut, who shot 8 of 11 on 2-pointers and 4 of 6 on threes, while also making 90% of their free throws. Coach Ataman needed to come up with something to stop Madrid's offense, something that nobody has been able to do all season. And in the second quarter, things got worse. Panathinaikos started off well, with Kostas assisting Kostas, great screen from Antetokounmpo to allow Sloukas to get to the rim, but defensively the focus wasn't there, and Yabusele punished them for leaving him wide open again, this time from the wing. Just look at Madrid here. Sloukas and Antetokounmpo try to run the pick and roll. Rudy Fernandez gets a touch on it, chases the ball, somehow keeps possession alive, and blindly guides it towards his teammate. Remember, he is 39 years old. The Madrid machine has been activated. Look at the 2 old-timers, Rodriguez and Fernandez, 2 players who played their entire careers together. Check out Rodriguez's off-ball movement to open up the lane and allow Fernandez to find his teammate. Madrid lead 41-27, up 14 points in the championship game, and at this moment it seemed as if this team was going to become EuroLeague champions. But Panathinaikos were not going to give up, and when needed most, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, Eurobasket Finals MVP, gave them a spark. He caught Yabusele sleeping, face cut, takes flight to the rack and flushes it down. And then defensively, he gets a steal for his team. With just over 6 to go in the second, it's a 10-point game, and Mateusz Lazor turned it up a notch. Grant's mid-range fadeaway is off, but he's there to put it back. This time Yui misses a free, Juancho fights for the rebound, hits the floor in the process, helping his team recover the ball, and they throw it down to Lazor. He resumes his battle with Poirier, up and under and into the hoop, and all of a sudden, it's a 6-point game, and Uber Arena is bouncing. Coming out of the timeout, Poirier gets his lick back, rises up over the back of Lazor after Campazzo's miss, and puts it back in for 2 points. But this is when Panathinaikos really started to get going. They got a bunch of easy points points at the line and cut the lead to just 4. 3 minutes to go in the half, Mario Hezonja sinks one to put the team in white back up 7. But Geraint Grant answers and pulls up at the top of the key. It's good. Lazor takes Campazzo out with a lethal screen, freeing up his teammate for a wide open shot, making it a 1-point game. Panathinaikos are right back in it, and the best part of this quarter was the battle of the bigs. Look at Lazor on this play, pivoting, spinning, the footwork. Poirier's defense couldn't be any better, but Lazor finishes strong and gets it to go off the glass. It's now Madrid's turn to go on a little bit of a run. They just don't go away. Musa hit a corner free to put them back up 4, and then Campazzo hit another to extend the lead to 7. Huge possession for Panathinaikos at the end of the half. Kostas Lukas one-on-one with the taller Hezonja, pulls up in the mid-range and cans it at the buzzer to give his team a little bit of a boost going into halftime. What a game of basketball. Real Madrid lead at halftime by 5 points. Second half, Kostas Lukas picking up where he left off. Lazor frees him up with the screen, he lets go from deep and scores. This time it's Campazzo's time to strut his stuff. Watch the way he turns on the drive and with the left hand shows his soft touch high off the glass, getting it up over the outstretched arm of Lazor. But that was the last great play for the team in white for a while. Speaking of great plays, check this out. Grant sees Hernan Gomez cutting from the baseline and he just drops it into the hoop for 2. 1-point game again, just over 6 minutes to go, and who else but Kendrick Nunn from the left corner. He hits a huge free to give Panathinaikos the lead for the first time, and the fans in green are celebrating like they've just won it all. An 11-2 Panathinaikos run. Madrid are all over the place. They just allow Nunn a free path to the hoop and score. Madrid finally end their drought, and with just over 2 minutes to go in the third, Poirier scores just Madrid's second field goal of the quarter. Some free throws later, and Panathinaikos go up 5 points. They get a little complacent though. Poor communication on defense allows Rodriguez to take advantage and lay it up and in. Final possession of the quarter, Madrid are down 5. Sergio Llull, from the same place he killed their rivals last year, airballs his signature shot in the mid-range. This is championship defense from Panathinaikos. This intensity in the third quarter is what won them the semi-final against Fenerbahce, and they've turned it up a notch here. For Madrid, nothing was falling. They went ice cold on jump shots in the third quarter, scoring just 7 points, their lowest in a quarter all season. It's hard to believe that this is the same team that scored 36 points in the first quarter of this same game. What an incredible turnaround, but it wasn't over just yet, because Madrid only trailed by 3 going into the fourth quarter. Game in the balance, who wants it more? First points of the quarter, Kendrick Nunn gets the shooter's role. Madrid running the veterans in the fourth. Sergio Llull sets a brick wall of a pick on Slukas, allowing Sergio Rodriguez to put another 2 on the board and make it a 1-point game with just under 9 minutes to go. Geraint Grant, balling out of his mind, activates takeover, drives with a full head of steam and finishes with the left hand off the window. Back on offense again, Grant runs the pick and roll. Matoglou steps onto the perimeter, he hits a deep free over Tavares, and Panathinaikos go back up 6 points. Timeout Real Madrid. How will the defending champions respond? Crucial play for them here. Llull drives, kicks to Hezonja, he makes the extra pass to Campazzo, who misses. Real Madrid still can't hit a shot. Panathinaikos come down the floor. Geraint Grant sees the mismatch, takes advantage, puts the moves on Tavares, steps back from the top of the key from 3, it's good, and Panathinaikos go up 9 points with under 7 minutes to go in the final. Madrid still fighting. They inbound to Hezonja, his free isn't falling, he's 1 for 6, so he goes inside and gets 3 points on the board another way with an and 1. Sergio Llull never needed more, hits his first 3-pointer of the game, and it's a big one to make it a 1-possession game. There's 6 minutes left in the game, and Panathinaikos' lead is now just 2 points. But guess who steps up for the boys in green? Mr. Crunch Time, Kostas Lukas, with the shot clock winding down, hits this crazy free from long range. And then again with just under 5 minutes to go, it's him. Kostas Lukas again puts Panathinaikos back up 8 and in pole position to win the championship. Sergio Llull has something to say about that. He answers back with another free of his own.
22 points in the game, his team up by 8, but a riposte from the perimeter as Sergio Llull keeps his team in contention.
Two of the clutchest players in EuroLeague history are going back and forth with a title on the line. Madrid ain't messing about. They get a stop, push the pace, Eddie Tavares dunks and cuts the lead back to just 3 points. Timeout Panathinaikos with just over 4 minutes to go. It all comes down to this. Which team is going to come back out, do what needs to be done and finish the job? Here's Kendrick Nunn, Panathinaikos' go-to bucket getter all season. He takes them 2 points closer to glory with a jumper from the elbow.
Kendrick Nunn to the elbow and drills the mid-range J with wonderful delicacy.
All the pressure is on Real Madrid. They go to the pick and roll with Yul. Panathinaikos blitz. He tries to throw it into Tavares, loses control of the ball, and it's a huge steal for Panathinaikos. They slow it down. Kendrick Nunn drives to his spot, finger roll from the edge of the lane, up and in, 3 minutes to go, and it's a 7-point Panathinaikos lead. Madrid need something and they need it now. Campazzo, nowhere to go, forces up a poor, difficult shot close to the basket, and emotions spill over. He commits a stupid foul on the defensive end, and Madrid lose their floor general. He fouls out of the game. 2 minutes 29 to go. Matoglou for Panathinaikos fakes the pass, finds himself wide open at the top of the key. He shoots and hits what very well could be the dagger to put his team up 10. 86-76 Panathinaikos lead with just over 2 minutes to go. Incredible scenes. Campazzo gets frustrated. Timeout Madrid. They come back out looking deflated, defeated. Sergio Rodriguez desperately fires from 3. He doesn't even hit the rim. Poirier loses his head. This time he fouls out. Last chance saloon for Madrid, 1:54 to go. Sergio Yul from way downtown, he misses, and Panathinaikos with just 90 seconds left in the game lead by 12. And at this point everybody knows it's over. The fans in green are already celebrating, but the players know they need to see it out and finish the job, and they did that. 44 seconds left, Kendrick Nunn, ball in his hands, could show good sportsmanship, decides not to, turns on the jets, explodes down the lane and throws it down with one hand.
Oh! Kendrick Nunn with a little bit of razzle-dazzle on that punctuation point.
To win his team the EuroLeague championship. Incredible run in the final minutes for Panathinaikos. They turned what was a single possession game into a blowout. Great defense, great offense, great coaching, just great everything from Panathinaikos. The final buzzer goes, the trophy will return to Athens and the city will be painted green. For the first time since 2011, Panathinaikos are continental champions. Coach Ataman has done it again. The fastest rebuild in EuroLeague history, his third championship in 4 years. Kendrick Nunn immortalizes himself with the Greek fans. He scored 19 points in this game. Massive performance, fulfilling his destiny and becoming a hero. Mateusz Luzort was probably their MVP this season. He's now a champion for the first time in his career. What about Kostas Antetokounmpo? He became the first Antetokounmpo brother to win a EuroLeague championship and also just the 13th player in basketball history to win titles in both the NBA and EuroLeague. Click the top right of the screen to find out who the other 12 are. But the player we need to talk about most in this game is Kostas Sloukas, MVP of the Final Four, and rightfully so. In his 8th EuroLeague Final Four appearance, he delivered his best performance yet. A perfect 24 points on 100% shooting from the field and 100% shooting from the 3-point line. He was incredible, and this season will be remembered as his year. He was an Olympiacos legend. He won 3 titles with the Reds. Last season he lost to this Madrid team in heartbreaking fashion. He missed the shot to win the title, and here we are a year later. He becomes a legend with Olympiacos' biggest rivals and wins the EuroLeague championship for the 4th time in his career. You cannot write a script like this. Everybody thought Real Madrid were a lock to win the title. At times, even in this Final Four, they looked unbeatable. They were calling them the first NBA team in EuroLeague, and yet again, the competitive nature of the EuroLeague prevails. The #1 regular season curse continues, and this incredible season for Madrid ends in failure. Rudy Fernandez is robbed of his fairy tale ending, and Real Madrid, uncharacteristically for a team that's known for their winning mentality, just completely crumbled under pressure. They led by as many as 14 points at one point in this game and ended up losing by 15. What a Final Four and what a season for EuroLeague. Panathinaikos champions again. The fans go absolutely crazy. They partied all night back home in Greece, and the team were welcomed back to one of the craziest and wildest parades I've ever seen. Name one parade in the history of the NBA that topped that. I'm ready to declare at this moment that Panathinaikos are currently the best fans in basketball. Tell me otherwise.